welcome back to another video, and today I'm bringing to you a very requested video that you guys have been asking for ages. It's a video on how I learned and how I do calligraphy, also some tips and tricks and everything I kind of know about calligraphy. And the most exciting thing about today is that I've actually partnered up with Skillshare, a website that I love to bring you this video. For those of you who don't know what Skillshare is, it's basically an amazing online learning website with thousands and thousands of classes on anything you can think of, like lifestyle, business, life management, and mainly art and creative stuff. I personally follow a lot of classes on Skillshare, mainly classes on animation and software that I'm still trying to get a grasp of, and also obviously classes on calligraphy, which is where I learned a lot of stuff that I'm going to be teaching you today, and it's honestly just a great place to learn anything you want to get into. It normally runs around $10 a month for complete access to their classes, but I've actually got a link in the description below, and the first 500 of you that sign up with that link will get 2 months of Skillshare for 99 cents, which I think is a complete bargain considering all the amazing content that they've got on Skillshare. I think it's a bargain. So yeah, I highly recommend you guys to get it while you can. Links in the description. And yeah, without any further ado, let's get right into the video.
So right here I'm giving you just a little bit of an example as to what I'm going to be showing you guys how to do today. So modern calligraphy, what it basically is beautiful handwriting, I think I describe it, but kind of quirky. So you've got the like old traditional calligraphy and everything, but yeah, more Instagrammable, so to say. So I'm basically just going to give you a one-on-one on how I learned modern calligraphy and how you can learn it too in some very easy steps. So I'm just giving you a rundown of all the materials that I'm going to mention in this video and all the materials that you might want to acquire if you want to start trying out calligraphy. You can literally use anything, even fine liners. I'm going to show you at the end how to fake calligraphy with just a normal fine liner or like a Crayola super tip. So just anything will do as long as you follow the same kind of basic rules. So to start off, I definitely recommend you get used to the pressure of whatever pen you're using. So what kind of different pressures creates what sort of line. So in this example, I'm just using my Tombow dual brush pen. And as you can see, you can create very easy fine lines as well as thick lines in just one stroke. You just kind of have to get used to the grip and how you hold the pen in order to switch easily from the fine line to the thicker line. Yeah, just take a couple of tries on some scrap paper just to kind of get used to the grip and brush strokes and everything. So here I'm just showing you how I kind of practiced by just doing some very simple shapes. So secondly, once you've gotten used to the pressure, the one thing that obviously everyone will tell you to do is to write out the alphabet. One thing that I will mention is that I do write in cursive normally, even when I'm not doing calligraphy. So I just kind of took my rules that I applied to my handwriting and just kind of zhuzhed them up a bit. But if you don't know kind of what calligraphy looks like or traditional handwriting, I would definitely recommend you look up some different examples like on Pinterest or on Google. I'm giving you some examples here, but again, as I said, this is how I do my hand lettering. But definitely try out different types of fonts and different types of calligraphy sets. Also do try out the capital letters, not just the lowercase letters. And then once you practice loads, it will just come to you naturally, every letter. The same rule goes to numbers and punctuation and everything. You can use whatever kind of skill set you've got already when writing down your numbers and just kind of make them a bit more fancy. You can always go the extra mile as well and just make them extra, very extra and big and fancy, which is what you'll sometimes see in capital letters. So just a lot of lines and just something very extra. So after you've done a bit more practice on the alphabet, you can always go back and kind of experiment with different styles for each letter. So I know that there's various different ways of writing out the same letter, which is kind of what happened when I translated my actual everyday handwriting into calligraphy. I, for some letters, had to learn different ways in which I could write them. And you just gotta kind of experiment with all of them and see which ones you like best. I'm giving you a couple of examples over here of different letters that can be written out differently. But again, looking at pictures on Pinterest and copying alphabets and experimenting basically is the key to calligraphy, I'd say, and loads of practice as well. So following on, once you've got the what? The hang, that's it. So once you've got the hang of the basic lettering and everything, we can actually start talking about spacing and the framing of your words. So this is an example of how you would write calligraphy in a normal kind of spacing. And underneath it, I'm just giving you an example of how to kind of space out the words a little bit more, and it gives it a different look, a different feel. And then you can even go the extra mile and just spread them out even more. And this looks really, really nice when you're not really putting a lot of pressure on the pen and the lines come out really thin. It's like a whole new font and a whole new style, and it just looks really nice. On the other hand, you can make the letters all really together, so to say, and just condense the whole word into a very small little type, which I think looks very cute as well. You can also play around with the height of the letters to give your words a little bit more of a personality. And speaking of personality, changing up the baseline of your words can change the word completely. So the first example here is obviously a straight line, so writing the word on a straight line as you would on a page, but you can also change up the baseline of the characters. So if you squint your eyes looking at it, you kind of see a wiggly line. You can make this as intense or as subtle as you want. And now going back to all the materials that I mentioned in the beginning of the video, I'm just giving you a little showdown, so to say, of all the materials that I sometimes use for calligraphy and what they all kind of look like when used for calligraphy. This might give you an idea of what pen might work best for you for a starter. The one that I do recommend highly for everyone is the Tombow Fudenosuke. I always butcher the name, but you understand. The Tombow Fudenosuke pen is just perfect for starting in calligraphy. And yes, I know I misspelled Sakura here. We're just gonna let that slide and not mention it. I tried to put in a little Comic Sans K just to make it better. So as you can see, you can use any sort of pen. I'm also using a brush here as an example. The Pentel Aqua Brush Pen also works beautifully for this if you're more into using watercolors and paint as a medium as opposed to pens. It works just fine. In this example, I'm using the fine brush, but I've got the full set of fine, medium, and large, and they all work great. That's also more of a cheap alternative. The cool thing with using gouache and watercolors for calligraphy is that you can also play around with the fading effect that it gives when the brush kind of runs out of color. And that can be something intentional or unintentional that happens, but if you do it right, it just looks really, really nice. You can also mix and match colors to make it kind of a gradient along the word. Yeah, as you get more comfortable with calligraphy, you can start experimenting with different effects. Another cheap alternative that I thought I'd mention is the Crayola Super Tips, because you can literally buy them at like the drugstore. You can buy them anywhere and they're really cheap. And you can get them in a bunch of different colors. And because they have like a sort of fine tip, but also a thicker tip, you can practice to start doing calligraphy on these. And as I said, they're cheap. And if you're just getting into calligraphy and you have no idea what you're doing, it's a great alternative to just get started, I guess. Another trick I wanted to kind of mention is giving highlights and shadows to your calligraphy. So what I usually use to give highlights to my words is my Jelly white roll pen. And if you just add a little line of white on the thicker side of your letters, it just gives it a whole nother dimension, and it just looks really nice, and it gives it a whole different effect. Tipp-Ex can also be used if you don't have like a jelly pen. And finally, as I said in the beginning of the video, I'm going to be kind of showing you how you can fake calligraphy if you can't get your hands on a brush pen. So basically, you'll just want to write out the word / sentence / letter that you're wanting to make into calligraphy, and just write it out in cursive as best as you can. So you'd want to go in and give a second line to the downward strokes and then fill them in, or you could leave them not filled in because that gives it a very cool effect as well, and it looks really nice and elegant, I guess, if that's the look you're going for. But I normally fill it in just to give it that illusion of calligraphy. And there you go, you just faked calligraphy in like seconds. Beautiful, isn't it? This works really well when you've only got fine liners at hand, but you still want to write something fancy. I do it a lot myself. And yeah, that was me showing you calligraphy. See ya!
So I hope you guys enjoyed this video, and I really hope you found it helpful. I hope you learned something, and as per usual, I will leave all the links of all the materials that I've used down in the description below. And yeah, do not forget to go check out Skillshare. Again, the link for 2 months for 99 cents is in the description. Get it while you can. And yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed, and I will see you guys in my next video. Bye!